family. Welcome back to another episode of Seconds. So excited to be here. So glad to be with you one more time, one more Wednesday. We're here at the church. We're excited about, this conversation. We just came out of this past week, this past Saturday. We were talking about friends with benefits. We're still in the Get Your Ship Together series. And this week we were talking about a touchy subject, friendships. We all got friends. We all got people that we call our homies or close, whatever you call it, your road dog, I won't use that word, but people that you call your friends. You can fill it in if you like. But there we have people that we are close with, that we ride with. Some of them we've been riding with like most of our lives. I've had friends. I think the oldest friend I've had since grade school. But some of us have had more frequent friends that have become like, they're so close, we call them my like brother or sister. But we all have friends. And I wanted to highlight one of the important things about friendship, or some of the important things about friendship, the elements about friendship, and just what Jesus showed us about friendship and how to deal with people that are in close proximity to us. And then some of the misconceptions that we have when it comes to friendship. So if you haven't already, I need you to go back and watch that message and then come back and watch Seconds, because it'll give you some context in terms of what we're talking about here on Seconds, the Seconds podcast. But we're here for Seconds, and this is the space where we just give a deeper dive, because one serving just isn't enough. So today, the part of the message that I really want to highlight is, how do I even set this up? Because this is, for some of us, friendships have been kind of a weird thing. Something that has almost become, let's call it maybe even a crutch for some of us. But I guess in the Bible, in what we dealt with in the Bible, there was some clear lines that Jesus drew in terms of how he dealt with those around him. And in the text that we actually used, it was a transition from servanthood to friendship. He said he called us friends. We're no longer servants, we're friends. And we kind of outlined how friends are categorized in this space. But one of the things that stood out was the extremes that we kind of handle or talk to or speak to when it comes to taking care of ourselves and taking care of our friends. So there are some kind of extremes, especially in culture. We live in an extremist culture where you're either on this side all the way over there, or you're on this side, and there's no real middle ground. So some of the extreme when it comes to our culture, or the tension in our culture, is put yourself first. You already hear that. We're in Mental Health Awareness Month, and that self-care is a big thing. And I'm all for self-care, also all for protecting your peace at all costs. Don't allow people in your circle that are going to send you off or put you outside of what you've been called to do. All that is great. And self-care as self-preservation, even at the expense of relationships or community or commitment, it becomes to get a little bit extreme. Because what we've learned in this series, and even in this past sermon, is that relationships matter, or connections matter, or fellowship matter, community matters. And Jesus gave us a picture of that even in this text, with how he dealt with the disciples, how he dealt with his close crew, how he dealt with the 12, even with how he dealt with Judas, which is a whole nother story in itself. But on the other side of this tension that we talk about is we have the whole idea where we hear in the New Testament where he says, die to self daily, or you're only valuable if you're useful, like you make yourself useful. And that is a whole nother extreme. And then we have a culture, sometimes even within the church, within, our sacred space of church, where people experience what I like to call spiritual burnout. Yeah, spiritual burnout. But what we like to categorize it as church people, or as Christians, is sacrifice. and we use that as a mask to put on people when we're just really spiritually abusing people and disguising it as that word sacrifice. No, there are boundaries that we as Christians, we as believers need to have, as people, individuals need to have, even when it comes to spiritual things. Jesus showed us that he had boundaries when it came to spiritual things. Went to the garden, he isolated himself, he went to pray, he went to rejuvenate, get himself together, and then came out. And I want to challenge you. I have a question, even so you can answer in the comments or engage. Like, what are the things that you do to rejuvenate? What are the things that you do for healthy self-care that allow you to gain your strength, or allow you to refocus, allow you to recenter yourself? What are the things that you do? What are those things that allow you to center yourself? For me, what I've been doing, even in the last few months, a few weeks, is working out. I work out. I try to get outside. It's not even the act of working out. It's more so just getting outside and feeling the fresh air, feeling the breeze, feeling the wind. Just listen to some music. I may listen to a book. I may, just be in silence. But it's just that getting out away from the noise. Sometimes you just have to unplug yourself from the noise. And that's what I do. Unplug myself from the noise and just kind of center myself and recalibrate so I can come back stronger, come back and, have something to offer. So yeah, culture kind of pushes us to pick a side, whether it be self-care or care for others. And there has to be a healthy balance. In order to care for others well, I have to care for me well. So even in my family dynamic, I tell my wife all the time, like, the best you is a you that is taken care of, is healthy, is happy, is, mentally focused and able to, think clearly. When you're not at your best, it affects everyone in this household. When I'm not at my best in the household, it affects everyone around me. And that's the self-care that matters. Even in communities, even for my friends, when I show up like in a bad mood, or some of us, we show up to spaces hungry, and that's just a whole nother story, that hangry attitude that you have when you're hungry. But that's just even a picture of what it can be like when, you show up not well, you show up not taking care of self. So I want to give this scripture, Mark chapter 1, and I kind of alluded to it just now when it talked about Jesus going away. It says in Mark chapter 1, the text is probably 35 to around 38, but it says Jesus goes away to a solitary place to pray, then comes back and says, let us go somewhere else. So he pulled away to come back. And the importance of this image is the word balance. Jesus had balance. Yeah, can you type that in? You were say it out loud. Balance. Balance is so important, and I think it's a lost art in this extremist culture that we have, this extremist world where you're either all the way over here or all the way over there. There's rarely, it's hard to find middle ground in some respects, but even Jesus protected his space and had to recharge, but he was still committed to the mission. When he came back, he didn't lose mission when he left. He didn't lose sight of the goal when he stepped aside. It was in order to better fulfill the goal, better fulfill the mission. And then when we see down in Galatians chapter 6, we see the text that says, carry each other's burdens, for each one should carry their own load. That's Galatians 6, around verse 2 to 5, in that area. But for each one should carry their own load. And the balance point is we're called to both self-responsibility and shared responsibility. And that's that balance that I'm talking about. The balance between self-responsibility and shared responsibility, that shared responsibility of community. When we look at the early church and the development in Acts, how the church developed, one of the things when you get down in Acts, it says there was no need among them because there was a shared responsibility within community. And that is valuable. That is valuable even in a church space, even in a workspace, whatever space you're in a family space, familial space. The shared responsibility I mean, I love it. I love one thing about our household. I love the fact that we all share the responsibility. It's not my wife does all this or my wife does that or I take care of that. It's a shared responsibility. We see a need, we fill it, and we celebrate each other for doing that. Even with the kids, they've taken that on, the shared responsibility of taking care of something together. And that shared responsibility lifts the weight off of any one person. But there's also a responsibility in our household to take care of yourself, to do what you need to do to be okay. If it's time to recharge, if the little ones need to take a nap, don't come in here crying and making a ruckus. Do what you need to do to take care of yourself, to make sure that you're okay and you're coming into the space with the best you, with a grounded you, with something that others can gain from, others can grow from, and it just melds together well. Some of us are showing up to spaces just, I don't even know how to describe. I see a picture of someone just showing up to a space, just not taking care of themselves, so their attitude is off, the way they respond is off, and you can really tell when someone isn't at their best. But it's a shared responsibility as a community to kind of figure that out, to kind of walk with people and find that balance. So the big thing I want to highlight, or one of the things I want to highlight, is that self-care isn't selfish. It's important. But self-care isn't selfish unless it isolates you from obedience. Now, how do I unpack this? Because what is the cost of your self-care when it comes to what God has called you to do? See, when we gave that example of Jesus going away to the garden, it wasn't at the cost of the mission. It wasn't at the cost of his assignment. It was actually to help his assignment and help the mission in order to do it well. And some of us take on this attitude of me first, and doing all I can to take care of me, but at the expense of our purpose, at the expense of what we're called to do. And it shows. We're not able to show up. We're not able to complete a task because it's all about me, or it's all about me getting better. It's all about, how I feel, as opposed to the bigger picture. We've become closed-minded or short-sighted in terms of how what we do and how we shows up plays into the larger mission. And I want to encourage you that what you do, what you bring to the table is important and it matters. So how you show up matters as well. Helping others isn't holy if it causes you to ignore your limits. Some of us on the other side of it, we're so helpful. We're so engaged. We want to be seen as giving and caring, that we totally ignore our limits. We totally ignore what our body is telling us. We totally ignore, some signs that, maybe I need to take a break. Maybe I need to pause. Maybe I need to rest. Maybe I need to implement Sabbath. Maybe I need to, just take a break. Maybe I need to slow down and kind of approach this a little differently. Some of us are so gung-ho on helping that we do harm to ourselves because we ignore our limits. We ignore what our body tells us. We ignore just how we're responding. And we feel that we're okay because we're doing it in the name of help. We're doing it in the name of caring for others. We're doing it in the name of love, but we're totally just blowing up our limits. We're blowing up our boundaries, and it causes more harm than help. We weren't created to be martyrs for busyness or idols of isolation. We were created for rhythm. There's cycles and everything. When you look through the Bible, when you look with how God has created this world, how he created us, there's rhythms. For example, the rhythm of our heart, it's a steady rhythm. When our rhythm gets out of sort, something is wrong and we're ending up in the hospital. We're ending up, under medical care. He created the rhythm of a week with a Sabbath day rest every 7 days. There's rhythms. There's a cycle. There's rhythms. And some of us are throwing off the rhythm of life, the rhythm that God has created for us, simply by, going all the way, going bonkers on self-care, or going bonkers on the responsibilities, and doing it in the name of sacrifice. And that is not healthy. That is not healthy. Not at all. So self-care is stewardship, not indulgence. I want to leave us with this framework. Self-care is stewardship, not indulgence. Rest is not an act of rebellion. It's reverence for the God who made you. That's what it is. It's not rebellion. It's reverence for the God who made you, and it allows you to have limits. Like I can't even say it in any other way. Like Jesus had limits. He had healthy boundaries. He had even with how he developed his friend groups, his disciples. He had some that he took with him all the time, and he had some that he took with some of the time. He had some that, he just moved differently with different people. And there's this lie that we have to move the same with everybody. Like as Christians, we need to love everybody, and loving everybody means treating everybody the same. That is a lie. That's not true. Loving everybody means seeing where they are and knowing how to treat them. It doesn't mean a one size fits all, because everyone is different. It doesn't mean that we have to extend ourselves for everybody in the same way. That's how you end up getting burnt out. You need to be able to have discernment and understand what this situation needs, what this person needs, what this, circumstance needs, and act accordingly. So the second point is service is worship. It's not your worth. Some of us have tied what we do to our worth. For me, as a musician, when I served in that capacity, it was easy for me to tie my worth or my value to what the service I was able to offer, what I was able to do in that space. But as I grew up and matured, I understood that it didn't matter what anybody ever thought or what the value they put on it, because this was an act of worship. This was my gift back to God. So there was no necessary value that you could attach to it to define my worth. That's why service is worship. It's not your worth. And so much so, even thinking of it from a humility standpoint, like some of us just overwork ourselves thinking that what we do or what we're able to offer, what we bring to the table, actually makes us better. It actually shows a lack of humility to know that we can't step away, can't rest, can't stop, can't do anything like that. It's a lack of self-awareness. It's not a badge that we can wear, that we should wear, that, I work the hardest, I do this, I do that, It's a lack of humility, thinking that I'm doing this in my own strength. And if I do enough, if I do more, if I'm seen more, if I'm on the stage more, if I'm, present more, that it somehow changes the outcome. It's a lack of humility, if you're honest about it. The next thing I want to share with us is boundaries are actually biblical. And I've been saying this all the way through. Boundaries are biblical and they're not bitter. It's not an act of being bitter or being nasty. Jesus left the crowds to pray. He didn't heal everyone. He didn't respond to every demand. It's not even physically possible to do that as he's operating as human. It didn't make any sense. And that's why he didn't model that for us to do. He modeled, I do what I can, I do what I'm able to do, and then I step away. He modeled, I take on what I can, I move how I can, I do what I'm assigned to do, what I'm called to do. I'm obedient to how the Spirit leads and how the Spirit is moving. I'm obedient to that. And then I recharge. I have boundaries. Boundaries are biblical. I need you to write that down. I need you to know that. I need you to understand that. boundaries are biblical. So the question I want to leave with us and kind of have you think on this week and kind of reflect on is, am I serving from a place of fullness or fatigue? Like, that's a real question, because as I move through different churches, move through different spaces, you can see who's serving from a place of fullness and who's serving from a place of fatigue, who's serving because they feel that they have to, and someone who's serving from a place of I get to. And those are two separate spaces to serve from. One says opportunity, and one says responsibility, or a burden. It's almost like a burden. Responsibility so much that it's a burden rather than an opportunity to give back, an opportunity to serve through worship, to give back and to honor God with the gifts that He has blessed me with. So where are you serving from? Are you even serving? That's another question. Are you even involved? Are you even connected in a way that allows you to serve, allows you to honor God through community, through gifts, through serving with others, through walking alongside and fellowshipping and engaging? And then I want us to look at our self-care. Is my self-care drawing me closer to Christ, or is it excusing my disconnection? Is it allowing me to be close to Christ, or is it kind of built in as an excuse for, to disconnect or to isolate myself and to set myself aside? And then, this is really important. I talked about the rhythms of our life. Our heartbeat is a rhythm. Our breath is a rhythm. Our week is a rhythm. How are the rhythms in your life? Do you have a rhythm of work and rest? Or are you only working? Because that's an opportunity for burnout. Look at the rhythms of your life this week. What are the rhythms telling you? And what are the rhythms of your life going to lead you to? Some of us are going to lead us to, feeling rejuvenated, feeling restored, feeling refreshed. And others are going to lead us to burnout, crashing, just anger, uneven emotions, and just tension within community and within our families because we're not at our best self. Family, I want you to be your best self. I want you to live abundantly. This year, our theme is capacity, and I want you to reach your capacity so you can operate at a level that overflows and blesses everyone that you're connected to. It blesses all those around you. It blesses your family. It blesses your children. It blesses your coworkers. It blesses your neighbors. It blesses the cashier at the grocery store, because blessings are just flowing out of you because you've reached your capacity. This is a growth moment for you. Seconds is a growth moment. This is a growth moment. And I challenge you to really take a look at what we discussed today. Take a look at how your rhythms of rest and your burnout, your self-care, your shared responsibility within community. How are you managing all these things? And what is it saying about your connection with God? What is it saying about your connection with others? And I challenge you to really take a look and answer those questions and see how you can walk forward and move in a way that allows you to be truly aligned with what God is calling you to be. You are not less spiritual because you need to take a break. Please understand that. You are not less spiritual because you need to take a break. You are not more anointed because you never say no. I'm going to say that again. You are not more anointed because you never say no. Just because you say yes to everything, you do everything, you hold it all, you are not more anointed. Anointing says no too. And God is not glorified by your exhaustion. He's glorified by your obedience. And the obedient step that some of us need to take is honestly take rest, take a break. Come back recharged so that you can fulfill your purpose, fulfill the mission, and live abundantly. Family, this is Seconds. I'm so glad you tuned in. Make sure you like and share. Make sure you're commenting. And make sure you join us next week, or even join us this coming weekend at our church. We would love to have you in person or online, but we're building something special here at Capital City, and I would love for you to be a part. Again, I'm Dr. Jason Bulgin, pastor here at Capital City Seventh-day Adventist Church. God bless you, and I'll see you soon.